Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Stefan.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Michael.
All right. Animating in threes.
Is
Is that worse?
No,
Is that worse for different reasons?
I like that one.
We were doing different takes of the intro. I think that's our worst one yet.
We are an animation podcast where we're not animators, really.
three guys
people-
discussing animated
You're
things from an
animators.
animated
I'm just the
perspective.
guy that shows up at Stefan's house every week, and then you base the podcast around that.
So three people talk about an animated series or show or movie from an animator's perspective. And this week we're going to be talking about some Disney Plus shorts. So in particular, the Spark shorts and the Short Circuit shorts. Oh my god, shorts. Stefan's wearing shorts. There's too many shorts.
So many shorts.
I don't like it.
Let's start talking about the shorts.
How
No.
about the movie Shorts? There
No.
was a movie called Shorts.
Yes.
Oh, it was
That
too.
had John Cryer in it,
Yeah.
didn't it?
No, what was that about? I remember.
Shorts?
It was
I don't know.
It was just like.
Wasn't it by the people who made Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yeah, it wasn't like a Robert Rodriguez film, and it was just
Yeah.
like disconnected vignettes.
Anyway, we're not talking about that.
Whatever.
And if you want to check out the time code below, it has a lot of, times to skip forward to in case you want to skip anything. Okay, let's get into it.
We're gonna get into boy, oh boy, there are a lot.
There are 20 shorts we're going to be covering.
Just a rundown. What are we watching today, Ben?
So we've watched on Disney Plus. If you go on Disney Plus, there are Disney Plus.
What are we watching, Ben?
Disney Plus, all of it, everything. No. So we've
Yeah.
been watching some shorts. So they're experimental shorts. 6 of them are by Pixar. They're called the Spark shorts, and by the actual Disney crew.
And 93 are by Disney.
No, 14 of them.
Oh my god, there were so many.
They're part of the Short Circuit series, and they're all very experimental, and all the directors are people who usually wouldn't have a turn at directing or getting their story made, which I find really good. Like, it lets people who, just say, like a storyboard artist or an animator, to give them a voice in storytelling.
Let the little person tell their own personal story is basically what this is.
Exactly. And I think for the most part, it was, very well done. And all
Definitely.
of these projects, I think,
Yeah,
were given
actually,
6 months as well.
A lot of them felt very informed by life experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single one of these 20 shorts we're going to be talking about has special features on Disney Plus, which I find great.
Ben watched, but I skipped.
Check them out. They're all really interesting, and it's always great to see that there are people behind all these stories who have their own dreams and have their own things and have their own ideas of what they want to do with films.
And
it's
hopefully it can
unique.
inspire you as well.
Yeah, or not.
But I actually found these quite inspirational.
Oh, they are.
I can't believe we have 2 weeks apiece to watch everything, and I watched 145 short films last night. We watched so much.
Okay, so let's get straight into it. So we're going to talk about the Spark shorts. So we're going to talk about Purl first, spelled P-U-R-L.
You're not going to have
Which
any...
I found out is a type of knot used in knitting.
Oh!
Yeah.
I did
Clever.
not know that.
Can we just do our general thoughts of the whole Spark shorts?
Oh, okay. Let's talk about just the Spark shorts in general
So,
first.
What is they?
So it's basically the independent shorts done by Pixar. Now, these shorts are longer than the Disney ones.
Yeah, so these are about 5 to 10 minutes?
Yep, 5 to 10
Yeah,
minutes
they're like
each.
Looney Tunes short length.
These
yeah.
are all standard Pixar 3D rendering, except for Kitbull. But most of them are quite, I would say, very on the nose with their messages. And I said that to Michael again before.
Yeah.
Like, they've got very, very good stories. Again, you cannot fault their animation and all their rendering. The rendering's gorgeous. But it's a very conservative sort of rendering in that it's the rendering that Pixar uses all the time. And the stories themselves are very, very, this
Yeah.
one's about sexism in the workplace. And it's that.
Yeah.
That's it.
The only problem with Pixar is that it doesn't seem to be informed by an artistic vision, except the ones maybe directed by Brad Bird, where all Pixar all Pixar humans kind of look the same. Like all the humans in Inside Out kind of look like the humans in Toy Story, kind of thing.
I think there's some...
The stylized ones like Ratatouille, which I think is also a Brad Bird production,
Yes,
and The
it is.
Incredibles, I think are the standouts.
Yeah.
When they actually look like they were designed and they were drawn first.
Whereas here, it's much less on caricature and more on what looks nice.
But
Yeah.
also don't forget, they only had 6 months to do it. So
Oh,
using
definitely.
the more standard type of designs is understandable.
I like the whole point of these, which is just to convey quite
Personal
severe kind
stories?
of social injustices
Yeah.
to very young children.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is an admirable effort.
Whether-
It's just that what was I going to say? Like, watching it as an adult, it comes off as, like, quite blunt.
Yeah, it's very blunt, very direct. Like, it's like, this is the autism story.
But then you got to remember that it's for children.
Yeah, exactly. And for a kid's thing, they are very good.
The only thing that was surprising about Purl was that it was raunchier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
There was some kind of, like, profanity in it, and I thought that was, like,
Okay.
unexpected.
So you two had a lot more negative view on these shorts
Not
than me.
negatives, they did, like, a lot of it, apart from, like, one or two. I think, one, it's, like, based on, like, your life experiences and what
Yeah.
issues resonate with you the most. Which we'll kind of get to which ones. But, and again, like, the way the message is conveyed, they're strong messages and they're positive messages, but they're conveyed for a very young audience.
Yes.
And I think watching it now, we can appreciate it. It's just that storytelling is not tailored to us.
Well, I'm just going to get into my two favorites, which resonated with me strongly. We'll just do our favorites first, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So my two favorites were Kitbull, because I have a staffy, and this, like, in this
You have a staffy?
story. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Jackson.
There is a pitbull, which is very, like, closely related to
Is
staffies.
it American or English?
English.
Oh, they're nice.
Yeah. And, yeah, so that really resonated with me strongly with that. And also Wind, just because...
Was that the grandmother one?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked Wind a
That
lot.
was really good.
That was probably my favourite, I think.
Okay, cool. So your favorite was Wind? What
My
else?
favourite my favourite was either Wind or Loop.
Okay, yeah, Loop
Yeah.
was quite good. What about you, Stefan?
Probably Loop or Float.
Okay.
I like how they just sound like keywords.
Yeah.
Just like
I'm
Just
surprised,
say
you're just
anything.
making it up. My
I'm
favourite was
surprised
Window.
you two didn't pick Kitbull as well, because that was
Pitbull
nominated
was
for
more
an
like, I
Academy
like
Oscar.
the animation the most.
Yeah.
I thought the most interesting concept was Loop, because it's something you don't see in animation at all.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of a watershed moment for portrayal of handicapped people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In animation. But
Well,
but I liked the emotional resonance of Wind. I think the
Yeah.
most, because I liked the metaphor of that. I thought the metaphor of that was the most clever visually.
Okay, so Purl, we'll talk about that one first. So it was directed by Kristen Lester. I didn't write what she does at Pixar. None of these. Anyway, so this film is about how when she first entered animation, she was one of the only women in the room. So, like, obviously, like, as the film depicts, she's the only...
Is it kind of ironic Pixar doing a misogyny in the workplace kind of thing?
Well, John Lasseter was kicked out a few years ago, so
but
I feel like...
goddamn, if you read some allegations, they're very
Yeah, I know.
God, oh my god.
But he was kicked out a few years ago, so I feel like this was made after his time.
Yeah, I feel like because it feels like a bit of a personal statement. Because
Yes.
from what it sounded like, Pixar was very much a boys' club for a very long
Yeah.
time. It's nice to see a little bit of what I took as introspection for this. It doesn't really forgive the culture, but
doesn't,
it's baby steps, I suppose.
Yes.
Bro capital. I like the name of it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
very blunt again.
There was a very, like, juxtaposed style with the, like, very sleek corporate world filled with men versus the, like, very jumbled style of the yarn.
Yeah. Like the corporate world is depicted like, I guess,
Yeah.
stereotypically how all corporate worlds are depicted, which is, sterile and lifeless and uncaring and unfeeling. But I kind of liked how kind of honest the boy talk was.
Yeah.
Like, you expect it to be kind of like dumbed down.
Yeah,
But there are very like overt, like, there's very like overt sexuality.
Oh, what was that one joke? I forgot. But
There was a really like that joke about a BMW. Which
Yeah,
is like,
that's right.
What's the difference between
a hedgehog and a
hedgehog and a BMW? It's
The pricks on
are
the outside for the
I was like,
hedgehog.
oh, when he said that, I was like, oh shit, they kind of like.
Yeah.
It's not raunchy, but like, oh, it's just a little bit of bite to it.
Yeah.
There was also like Purl makes a joke about like taking your dress off after a one night stand or
I
something.
don't remember that one.
Yeah,
They
the
say
joke she
ass
says.
at one point.
Yeah.
Like it's little stuff, but
Yeah.
like for something that's like for children, like young children, like oh wow, like that, yeah.
On with the very few facts that I have. So the reason why they chose Purl to be a ball of yarn was
Yeah.
because they can make yarn into lots of things. So they can make it itself or make it fit
Oh,
in with
yeah,
the
'cause she's
corporate
adaptable,
world.
but she wants to
Yes.
fit in. Yeah, because the whole time I was like, oh yeah, I didn't quite grab that. Maybe I'm just dumb.
No, a lot of people pick up different things. Like a few weeks ago when we did Tech on Kinkri, I didn't think about a few things that you two did.
Different strokes for different. Is that applicable? When in Rome, that's what I'm looking for.
When in Rome, eat the
I don't
Romans.
think that works
No,
like
it
that.
doesn't.
That's exactly the.
When
When
Okay.
in Rome,
situation.
eat cake.
But yeah, I quite like Purl, but it isn't. It's not the best out of all these, definitely, but I still quite like it just because it is like they're not fun, but it's interesting.
it's about
I know.
workplace misogyny.
It is interesting following Purl and her journey into the corporate workspace.
Yeah, and how she has to kind of compromise her own principles.
But then she doesn't, and she actually gets the corporate place to compromise for her,
yeah,
which I found really good.
Nice story. I
good
like
stuff.
Yeah.
Again, this was character-driven one. I liked Pearl, so it centers it on her story, and her animation is really nice, as you expect from Pixar. It's a good.
Actually,
it's
I
good.
really liked how all the corporate people looked very similar, just to show
I love.
how
I do like the
homogenized it
joke
was.
with the employee of the month, and it's just like the same photo.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you notice like a weird kind of film grain distortion on it the whole time?
No, but
No, I
could've
thought that was texturing.
Oh, like yeah. To me, it looked like film grain, but it looked very strange because usually Pixar was quite vivid and clean.
We'll talk about in the next one. Actually, I have a problem with that.
Anyway,
Okay,
next
so let's-
short,
so
Ben.
next short-
What were how many safety pins through the eye?
No, we're not
not
doing
doing
that this
safety
week.
pins.
We're gonna go. How many tear jerkers was this? This wasn't a
How many
tear
tears
jerker.
of this jerk?
No, because didn't have.
I'd give it
Pixar
maybe
films
like
are like
I'd
very
give it
emotional.
3.5 tears out of 5.
Oh, we're doing it out of 5.
3.5
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah, 3.5 tiers
Yeah,
out
that
of
sounds
5.
good.
Doesn't mean it's 3.5 sad out of 5
No.
possible sad. Just means 3.5 whatever. Keep going.
Okay, so the next one is
matter.
Smash and Grab. This was my least favorite.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did. This one I didn't.
But okay, so
So we don't want to be dismissive because these are so hard to
yeah,
make.
I know. So the idea behind this was like as an animator, you iterate stuff over and over again, just like to refine your ideas and animation. So it came from that where they're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it
They
felt
want
like
to
trial and
break
error.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to break out of that and do something different. So that's what I was inspired by. This one used a lot of motion capture.
Yeah.
So all the movements from the two main robots used motion capture.
For me,
It's 2 robots in a cart throwing like coal into a furnace.
Yeah, I should probably mention the stories for these.
we should probably give introductions.
So the story for this is 2 robots in a cart. They're doing their job. They're sick of it.
and
They
they're
wanna-
separated from each other is the main
Yes.
thing.
So they want to get out. So one of them gets a power source for them to get, and then they try to escape. Then the robots attack them, but then they survive. And then
And
they
then-
get to venture the world together.
And they have to share the same
Yeah.
power
So,
source.
so
they've
now instead
gone
of being
from
apart, they're together forever.
Cyclical.
Hooray! Okay, next short.
No, my problem.
Just steamrolling through these.
The thing about this one that fell short for me, I think, mainly, is that the same studio did Wall-E. And
Ah, yeah.
Wall-E
It's a much better.
just
I
nailed
did,
this sort of
yeah.
storytelling of show, don't tell with silent protagonists. And there was no real expression on the robots. Like, they just looked like trash cans with, like, arms. Like, there was no emotions. There's no subtle things that Pixar is usually really good for. It was mainly just showing
Well, I guess
through their
they
actions.
did use animators as the actors for the motion capture.
Yeah.
I reckon if they used actual actors to portray everything,
No, I
it
mean-
might have gotten a better performance.
I mean, the character design, there wasn't any
okay.
facial things. Like, it was
well,
all
there
just
doesn't
buttons.
need to be technically.
Oh, it doesn't, but for emotionless for characters that don't talk, it's kind of a thing that you need.
Okay. Well, is there any more criticism?
No.
Okay,
it's-
let's
We're
move on.
really like kind of blowing through this.
Well, we have to.
That's because we're so good at podcasting that we can get
Exactly.
through it
Which
quickly.
is so good.
Also, there's 20 of these that we have to get through.
It's not about being interesting, articulate, engaging, or
just
fun
being
to listen
fast.
to. It's just being really quick.
Okay, so
So good at podcasting.
the next one is the Academy Award nominated Kitbull.
Yeah, I liked it. I like the animation the best out of all of them. Yeah.
I think this is definitely the sweetest one. This is the one
So-
that gives you that
Let me get
feeling.
the story. So it's about the story of a cat who's a street cat but has a home in this guy's backyard. But one day that guy gets a pit bull as a pet, and those two become friends. But the pit bull is used for dog fighting and is really hurt. So then the two escape from the man's house and then they get adopted. So with this short, it started out as the idea of just the creator of it just watching cat videos. And then they were like, okay, let's extrapolate from cat videos and actually try to make a story.
A lot of these are nice. They have humble beginnings.
Definitely the most interesting thing about this short film is
I have
it's
more to say, Stefan.
It's Pixar doing a 2D.
No,
which they
Yes, I
never
will
do.
actually
a
get
lot
into
of
that.
content
So
quickly.
this was one of Pixar's very first 2D things. Like, the only thing that has used 2D, I would say, is Day and Night.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the first fully 2D project that they've done. So what they did, they used 3D to block out all of the scenes. And then from there, they did the 2D animation on top. But they actually used the 3D assets from the backgrounds and painted directly over them to make the backgrounds.
That makes sense.
And yeah, I really like this one. So I have a Staffy, and they're closely related to pit bulls. And like all of the subtle details with the dog's animation, I just instantly recognized, and like I instantly grew a strong attachment to
You
the
know
dog.
that that's a staffy moving. You can
Yeah.
believe it.
And as well as the cat as well.
Same
'cause,
with the cat. The cat's so erratic. It's moving like a puffball. All of its eyes are like darting everywhere.
And just like, yeah, the subtle animation things with the cat as well is very realistic because my partner has cats. So like seeing all these things just come together in animation, like very realistically as well, even though it is highly stylized.
Yeah, I think stylized animation resonates more with me. I like how everything was kind of a rough pastel look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's because it's not clean at all. It's very, well, I want to say
It's
like,
clean. It's just that
it's just, yeah.
It's illustration like.
Yeah, it's very
It's lineless.
illustrated.
It's got it's lineless at times, and
it
it's got
literally
that,
looks like oil pastels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially in the backgrounds and with the lighting effects where it has like
It's organic.
it tapers out a bit. But no, some really good emotional things with the two characters, how they bond. And again, this is a show not tell, but I feel this show not tell worked way better than in Smash and Grab.
Yes.
Simply because they don't necessarily have facial emotions that we're used to, but with their movements,
Well,
how
if
the
you have
dog
a pet,
lumbers when
if
he's
you do
hurt,
have a pet,
you recognize them, yeah.
And yeah, that really, the part that really gets me is at the end where like the dog is free, but someone tries to go up to him, but he has this pained look in his face.
Yeah.
Oh, that kills me. And I actually showed one of my friends this on the weekend. They just bawled.
Yeah. It's a
'Cause it-
very powerful
Yeah,
film.
I really, this is my favorite out of all of them.
What would you rate this one out of 5 tiers?
How many tear jerks out of 5?
I would say this is a 4.
I would say this
4 out of
jerked
5.
4 tiers.
4 out of 5
tiers
tiers.
For me, this is a 5.
5
Definitely
out of 5
a 5 out of
Water,
5 for
4
me.
water jerk. 4 water boys.
So the next one is Float.
I like. Wait, no. Which one was this?
Float. The one with
boy
the father
floats.
and son. So let me talk about it. So the director of this, his son had autism. Or
I
has
thought.
autism.
Yeah, I thought.
And
I thought so.
So he had a bit of trouble accepting it, as well as like how society views people with autism, and that really affected his like perspective on things. And it took him a while to accept that and like really like not care about what other people think.
I know people with autism, and I
Yeah,
know
same.
weirdly a lot of people who work with disabled children or children with autism as well. And I just loved how many shorts dealt with that.
Yeah.
Well, 2 of them, but like to have multiple
Yeah,
shorts
it's
and
really
Pixar's
interesting.
premiere short film lineup on Disney Plus
It's
has
good,
like, deal with
yeah.
that. I think it's fantastic because that's
Yeah.
something that kind of like is like a little closer to home than the other stuff.
Okay, so the story is this father has a son, and that son can literally float in the air. But a lot of people, like outside of just him, like frown upon that. And then like years pass from when he's like a little toddler and is like a 5,
Preschool?
6 year old, yeah,
Yep.
preschooler, and like he needs to go to the park, and it shows them dealing with like his outbursts and everything. It's very like when I first watched it, which is before we decided to do it for this podcast, I didn't pick up that it's like about autism. But after I found that out and watched it again, I was like, it is heavily implied.
Yeah.
I think that it has a good balance between subtle and again using imagery to visuals to infer greater social issues, whereas I thought that Purl was too on the nose. Whereas Float can be taken both literally and metaphorically, and both still work as good
so-
stories.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we talked about this before, that effective metaphors have like sensical narratives outside of the metaphor.
Yeah.
Where the worlds and the premise and the narrative makes a coherent outside of the grand allegory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this does.
And
Like,
something
like it's a urban fantasy,
Yeah.
but it makes sense even if you don't take it as an allegory for dealing with
And something that's
autism.
great about this, despite having humans as the main protagonist and antagonist, is that there's only one line uttered throughout the entire thing, whereas everything else is pretty much silent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with just
and it's a
music.
lot of like pent up frustration.
Yeah, why
Exactly.
can't you just be normal?
And yeah, I like that. Again, like it's like all of them, like the metaphor is quite blunt and direct, but again, this is trying to get this across to kids.
Yep.
Well, I think this would kind of resonate more with adults or people in that
Yeah.
father's situation.
In
Yes.
terms of animation, again, this is this felt like the more CGI, flawless kind of Pixar rendering. I,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some reason, thought the best thing rendered was the dad when it's his long-haired, dishevelled look.
Yes.
There was something about that just looked so real. Like,
Yeah. Reminded
me a
how
lot
he
of
had
my
the
uncle.
whiskers in
Very,
his...
very, very human.
Yeah,
Which
the
I like. He was
whiskers
so
on
like
his
clean
face.
cut and idyllic at the start, and then
Yeah.
kind of as like the years and like kind of just fatherhood in general kind
Yeah.
of takes its toll on a person.
And
Like, yeah,
he's-
he just kind of becomes a little bit more kind of disheveled.
And
Yeah.
his hair looks greasy.
Yes,
Like, it not
yeah.
only looked long, but it also looked really... You know when thin hair gets greasy?
Yeah.
And it just becomes thin at the edges? And it just... For some reason, when I looked at the dad and his expressions and everything, it's like, that is a dad. 100%. That is a dad.
And like, despite him like not being the happiest with his son, you can still see he really cares and loves his son throughout the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
thing.
Oh, definitely.
He just wants to like Eddie Perry. He just want the
Yeah.
best for them.
Okay.
And it could like breaks your heart that like life is any more difficult for them than it needs
Yeah.
to be.
That's why I don't like the ending where they have this gorgeous moment together and everyone else is just staring at them with like, "Ugh!" And that's it. But
the
they
whole-
don't change at all.
I didn't mind that.
I
I
liked
thought
it.
that was like it didn't go full kind of
It felt
schmaltzy. and
awkward.
have
Yeah, that's
everyone-
what I said to Stefan earlier.
I think go full schmaltzy and have everyone accept it. The important thing is
That
That
the
he-
relationship is repaired.
that the father learns to
Accept his son fully.
accept his son and properly kind of deal with this.
But I would have
card
them
that they've been
moving
dealt.
on or have the crowd just not even look at
Ultimately,
them.
it doesn't like. I think it depends on your personal philosophy and how you go about your life. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what they think.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
But just having them staring at them.
Stefan, I said the next one.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is Wind.
Just the tone change.
So this is based off the director's grandmother after the Korean War and how she had to sacrifice her whole life for her family to immigrate to America. Yeah, so this is an immigration story. Which
This
I
is
found
yeah.
really
I thought this
good.
was great. I thought this was very
really good. So this grandmother and the grandson are just living in this house at the bottom of this pit
Endless
that has,
chasm.
Yeah, this endless chasm that has like this
Debris.
anti-gravity winds floating up.
And basically they're trying to construct a spaceship so they can both get out of there and to a better, obviously, surface.
But the grandmother realizes she can't make it with him because there's not enough fuel and there's not enough space
There's
in the
not
rocket.
enough parts.
So she tricks the grandson into going by himself, and then when he realizes, he's really grateful for her.
It's really this one was really good.
Yeah.
I liked this. I enjoyed the allegory. I thought it was blunt in a way that was still gratifying.
What was in the box?
Potatoes.
Is it just potatoes?
just a memory? Like you carry your memory
Yeah.
with her. Like she
Okay.
doesn't make it in person, but yeah, it's an allegory.
It's
I
a
mean,
final goodbye
like,
present.
you know, I know Seven, so I thought maybe she cut off her head. I don't know.
Stop ruining this, Stefan.
But no, just the relationship between the grandmother and the grandson, you can instantly get like straight away with all the small animation details they put between the two. Like when they're praying or when they're eating the food, they do like a ritual.
The little
thingy
ritual
together.
thing where
Yeah.
they open the bag together.
Yeah.
Grandmother was... I really love when Pixar animates older people because they do it so well. But
You're thinking of
because,
Coco, aren't you?
Yes.
But they haven't done enough older people for me to make a general consensus. But with this film and Coco, they just
Well, what
they
about Up
understand
as well?
older people really well.
Up had 3 old people in it.
I did. Up was great.
Okay, so yeah, Wind. We really emotional.
Great.
Really good.
5 water boys out of 5.
And
Yeah.
it does have the standard, really great Pixar rendering
5 Adam
as well.
Sandlers. It's 5 uncut gems out of 5.
This is also five big Ghibli animators.
5 big Ghibli. 5 big Lebowskis.
5 big Lebowskis out of 5.
Okay.
No, this one was. I thought this was really good.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Next one, the last Spark Short is Loop.
Did you know anything about any of these when you were watching them?
No.
Okay, because I watched this all blind and I was really surprised by this
same.
one.
So this is the first short film that had a non-talking
Non-verbal
autistic person to
non-verbal
actually
autistic.
voice a character.
Oh, did they? I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds obvious now, right?
Yeah.
That they would.
And they actually, I think, based the design kind of on her as well.
Okay. That's good.
So the story is about how they're at a summer camp and a boy has to be partnered up with this person with autism to go canoeing, and they have to learn to get along with each other and like to try to interpret each other's worlds.
Yeah. I thought, I don't know, just knowing people with like similar experiences, I thought this was like beautiful and devastating at the same time. Like I really enjoyed this one.
And it really portrayed autism, like the non-talking,
just-
the mutes.
just very like candid. Like
Yeah.
it's what it's like.
but also like really realistically, but both as a positive and a negative, depending on who you are and how you're dealing with it.
Actually, I'm going to change the word. I don't like the word devastating because like
Yeah.
you want like
It's
like
it's
obviously
impactful.
Yeah, it's obviously it's impactful and it's like a it's a sizable, thing that you have to deal with kind of going forward in your life, and it will radically alter your trajectory.
The film,
But you can still have a full life and still have experiences, and it was just nice to see something like that on film.
I like the word he uses. I think actually works through the film, where he says she can be quite intense, and the film itself feels quite intense.
Yeah.
Just with them trying to work each other out and trying to understand how they can get through this. But something in terms of animation that this one, I think the animators nailed it, but also would have been dying the entire time, is... Did they have names?
Marcus and... what's
Oh,
her name?
yeah, she did.
She did have a name.
I don't remember, but her...
It's like Rachel or something.
It wasn't Rachel.
Something like that.
Her facial expression animation. That would have been so hard, because
'cause it would have
every
been-
little twitch,
Yeah.
every little slurred smile, they capture it all.
Because
Like,
they kind of... Yeah.
Renee!
Renee, that's it. I was close.
yeah,
Okay, fair
Rachel,
enough.
Renee, close.
Okay, sorry.
The only thing that was kind of odd is that whenever it cuts to her perspective, it's quite like ethereal and
And
smoky.
but something they also did was to make sure that the camera never focused on his face or eyes. Which is something like...
Oh, that's
how
such a
they were-
good point.
Exactly, how they always avoided like
Oh,
the
that's
facial
clever.
contact.
That's clever. Yeah, because like if you ever like met or know anyone who has autism, yeah, like a big part of that is not being able to form neurotypical social connections with people and not really focusing on people, looking them in the eye.
And the teacher does say that at the start to the boy. He says when she's trying to turn around, he's like, "Oh, she's trying to talk to you. She's trying to engage you."
Yeah.
And he's the Marcus. The boy's just confused. He doesn't know what to do.
Which, like, the confusion, like, the kid's not a bad kid for not understanding or, like, being a little bit frustrated, because it is difficult to... Because we're really not, like, wired to deal... Because you have to kind of abandon everything you know about conventional social interaction, and you have to try and communicate in a way that they
I
understand.
think he tries quite well. He's very open.
And that's good, because, like, the whole message is that, like, we communicate differently, and the short is about learning to communicate
Exactly.
with people who don't communicate at the same level that you do.
And like the really great part about the short as well is the end credit scene, how it shows that Marcus is texting her and they're still friends afterwards.
That's nice. Yeah.
And how they have a relationship after just this one incident with each other.
Yeah. Like, I loved this. I thought it was just a
Yeah.
very honest depiction of, like, quite severe, like, low functioning autism.
It also is a nice... I like when films take a small moment to show it. Like, this is just... Could have been any summer camp. Could have been any canoe.
Yeah, it's a moment. Yeah. It's just
And
a moment in their lives.
It's very self-contained, and it's a wonderful story.
It's literally like 3 or 4 hours in the lives of these two characters
Yeah.
that is completely transformative. But I really liked it. I thought it's just the thing that we don't see on screen very much, let alone in animation. Portrayed in a positive
But
light.
I think it's because it's animation, because you have the control of all the facial expressions, that you can really capture and exaggerate things so that anyone can understand what they're looking at. Because otherwise, if this story was told live action, it may be a bit muddled, or you may not get the right things for it to be clear to a younger audience.
Yeah.
Whereas you got to realize these are animations; these are going to be viewed by kids who see it on Disney Plus. So
I think it's important just to expose kids to, like,
different people.
this different people. Like, this is like the world is just comprised of so many, just like, we're all different, and we're all different in, like, quite, like, radical ways.
Yeah.
Five Billy Crystals out of 5. I don't know what we're...
5 woof woof woofs.
5 wolf of wolves.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the short circuit shorts now. So what were some of your favorite ones from this?
Oh shit! I'll have to give up a list.
Look,
I have a list of all.
Can you
all
go
of
through?
them.
One of the ones I like was in, like, the first 3. Which
So
one was it?
there was Puddles, which is about the
Puddles was cute. I like the animation.
Puddles exchange student, which I
Yep.
completely forgot about. It's about
Me
this
too.
girl with the aliens.
Oh yes,
The
sorry,
girl at
yes,
the
yes,
alien
yes.
school.
A lucky Toupee, which is the guy who was balding and he had this
hair
toupee being
from
stolen by a
leprechauns.
leprechaun.
Sorry, it just takes me a while to remember.
No,
these.
that's fine. There was just a thought about a boy having a crush on a girl,
Yeah,
but everyone
yeah.
could see his thought bubbles.
Yeah.
Cycles, which was a VR project
Yeah.
about this living through this woman's life backwards in this one house. There was Lightning in a Bottle, about a little boy trying to catch lightning in a bottle. There was The Race, about the Grim Reaper trying to catch a cyclist. There was I know that's Anyway, there was Hair-Jitsu about a girl getting her hair cut for the first
haircut.
time.
Yep.
There was Downtown, which was about this guy who's in the humdrum of city life getting
Yep,
exposed.
the best New York ad ever.
Yes. And there's just color everywhere. There was Jinghua, or Flower in the Mirror, which is about a woman grieving her dead mother, I think. There was Drop, about the life of a water
Raindrop. Yep.
drop. Zenith, which was a very
Fantasia.
Fantasia-like
With a space
animation.
moose.
There was Elephant in the Room, which was about an elephant that was mostly outside. and there was Fetch, about a little girl playing with this monster.
Wait, what was the last one?
In terms of opening thoughts, I really love these ones as opposed to the Pixar ones, only because this was also a visual experimentation.
Yes.
As well as
yes.
a storytelling experimentation.
I think the stories were a bit... Well, half the stories in the Spark shorts were a bit stronger, but
Yeah.
for the short circles, it's the visuals that you want to watch.
Yeah,
you've
because
also-
I remember like Puddles especially when the guy came out and was like, it's based on just watching my son play. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
but
yeah.
also these are 90-second shorts, and
Yeah.
doing any sort of story in 90 seconds is bloody
I
difficult.
remember we had to do script writing with a 90-second script.
No, I'm trying to get that out of my memory.
Well, but that was like very difficult. And the fact that these all
The
these
90
people did
second
it,
script,
it's very difficult.
1.5
to do.
pages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very difficult to do.
Yeah.
But they all have very unique ways. I love how they've...
Show you the
as-
trick. 0.2 font size.
No, that's
No,
not...
no, it's size 12 Korea font.
Yeah. I wonder why they... Oh, because typewriter.
Yeah.
I want you to say it because you remember it, but they all experiment with a very specific sort of 3D rendering,
Yeah.
which is...
So, NPR rendering. So, all of these are 3D. A lot of them do look 2D, but that's because they use non-photorealistic rendering. So what that is like, when you look at like DreamWorks and Pixar films, a lot of them, like, despite being stylized, that all the rendering and all the textures are very
clean
realistic.
CGI rendering, yeah.
But say when you go into something like Into the Spider-Verse, it is non-photorealistic. So it's very heavily stylized rendering, where it's like you have that comic effect over it and all that.
That's why
But,
a lot
like,
of these had like ink lines, they had like crayon textures,
especially-
and things that you usually wouldn't see rendered in a 3D space.
Yeah. I loved how Puddles looked.
Yeah,
thought that was really nice.
I
even
loved
though
how all of them looked. They were amazing.
Yeah, even though like Puddles did use a lot of realistic rendering, but the Puddles themselves used non-photorealistic rendering for the splashes.
Yeah, and especially with Raindrop, especially in that intro, he said that all the visual effects of the water were actually 2D,
Oh, yeah,
and then
that's
they were
right.
put within the 3D space, and it blends perfectly. And a lot of these were just blending these animation styles in a way where it creates almost a visceral 2D, 3D experience.
Instead of talking about every single one, we'll talk about our favorites first and then just go through the rest quickly.
Okay.
So, what were your favorite ones? We'll start with Stefan.
Oh, damn it.
Okay, we'll start with me then. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so my favorite one would have been the Flower in the Mirror one, about
Yep.
the woman grieving her dead mother. Okay, so this one I found really powerful because, well, I've had like a few family members being deceased recently, and like, so obviously there's that connection there, but also just the animation in this is so like vivid and beautiful, where like it's just this white blank canvas that you start on, yet she uses her emotions to create this world around her. And like, from a metaphorical standpoint, that's like, it is really nice to see visually,
Yep.
and but also like the animation and like the style also really reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah.
which is one of the best animated shows of all time.
The best thing about this one I found is not only did it do NPR rendering for ink textures,
Yeah.
but it also created a liquid kind of animation for each stroke. Like even when
Exactly.
she moved, she felt like she was moving like a paintbrush, and that's impossible. Like how do you do
I
that?
have no idea how they would do this NPR rendering for this one.
Did they sacrifice a goat? They probably sacrificed a
Probably,
goat.
but no, it's very visually beautiful and very impactful emotionally, and the fact that like the ending is just the sound design is what the emotion comes from, where it's
Yeah.
just this heavy bass sound slowly entering, like showing how she's still really grieving even after trying to bring her grandmother back in some form.
Yeah, I think the problem with this one was mainly because because it was wordless as well. I didn't see the direction of where the story was trying to go. Like, I interpreted it as that she was trying to bring the person back to life, but I was never quite sure.
I don't think this short, I don't think is about the story as much as the emotion.
Oh, the emotion is definitely there.
Yeah, another one I really liked was Downtown. So this is the one... So something interesting about this one was...
The New York ad?
Yes, the New York ad was every single person in this, they were, like, realistically modeled and rendered, but... They were all silhouetted because of how they did the lighting.
A very interesting way of silhouette in that you can actually see the rendering of the outlines of them, but their center is... Yeah. Like, that is really good.
And the reason they
decided...
decided...
effort to go to just to not show any of it.
Yeah.
But, like, the reason they did this was to show, like, the protagonist as, like, that could be anybody.
Yeah.
And so what happens to this
Metaphors.
guy is he bumps into a wall and there's this giant... colourful burst with this octopusy thing.
And they take him on an incredible journey saying, look at how beautiful New York can be.
And how do they do that? Do you know how they do that? They smash him around every single building.
They do.
That would be funny. Just happy if, beautiful, look at the wonder of New York City.
But,
and then just like a cab goes past. Get the fuck out of the way!
It's beautiful.
But like, I think this is really well because this is a mixture of 2D and 3D, with the 2D obviously being the colourful explosions.
And the character. Is the
No, 2D. No, the character's 3D.
The 3D octopus.
Oh, no, sorry, that is 2D, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the 2D and 3D were really well integrated. Like, they even go as far as, like, the 2D, like, was lit, and you can see the reflections of it in the 3D world as well.
I think there was spectacular action in this one.
Oh,
like
yes.
everything was moving, the camera was sweeping all over the place, and it was one vivid like swoop, and how it looked up at this perspective, and you'd see this little squid form into a giant squid, and the squid's movements felt so like flowing and just automatous, like it just spontaneously form and twist and bend, and everything felt so meticulous and detailed. Like it was definitely, it gives you that feel of good graffiti moving.
Yeah.
And by good graffiti I mean the ones that are like
Actually
artsy.
commissioned and all that.
Not tags. But this had that energy, it had that charm of like these urban streets being brought to life by this color. And it was great. That's why I call it a New York ad.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it should be an ad, and it would work amazingly as an ad.
It could be.
Yeah, just stick a logo at the end. Say, visit Australia. Come for our terrible air.
Actually, it's been okay recently.
Yeah. So
Touch
one
wood.
of you two go through some of your favourite ones.
I kind of liked the Grim Reaper bicycle one.
Oh, I really like the concept behind this. So
that
a
was
little
fun.
bit about that one.
I like relentless murder in my children's
He kills
shorts.
so many people.
So many murders.
So this is obviously, with it being about the Grim Reaper, it's obviously a story about like the race of life and how you have to try to make every single moment count.
And how it's not always about the trophy at the end. It's
No.
how many people you kill along the way.
Yeah, so the story about
It reminded me of that Simpsons episode when Homer becomes death.
Yeah.
And he wants like the
Oh,
seats
yeah.
at the
Tapping
front, so
everyone.
he just kills everyone on the way down.
but he kills so many people in this. It's amazing. Just because his side accidentally happens to touch a lot of things.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. It was like a little Looney Tunes short.
And then I liked how at the end it was like, you know what, I don't want to kill you because you remind me of me and my wife.
Meanwhile, there's this pile of bodies just in his wake.
I assume they
Oops,
get...
sorry about those people.
Do they
who-
get like reborn or something, those people? Like re-put back in the places they were?
No, it's straight to hell.
Straight to hell.
No trial.
Lovely Disney short.
No, you just get straight down. They start shoving pokers up your bum.
Any others you liked?
No, all terrible.
What?
No.
I really liked. You could guess which one I really liked. I liked the just the thought one. I
yeah.
loved the aesthetic. I loved how cutesy it was. I liked how there was the 2D character in the speech in the thought bubble. I just thought that was a really wonderful blend of 3D with like 2D graphic comic design. It just it was poppy. It was fun. It was vibrant. I loved it.
The only thing I can criticize about this one is the toon lines weren't the best because to me they still conveyed a lot of like 3D models in them.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of agree with that.
Yeah, because when I was just seeing that, I was watching the girl's shoulder and hands move. I was like, oh, that's very obviously 3D.
I think because comics are known for very hard lines, you can kind of get away with it if you're just watching it once time. But if you watch it a few times, that does become apparent.
Yeah, but then again, these were all made within 6 months, so they
Yeah.
would have spent a lot of time developing the style.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I really like it. Maybe it's just because it was the first one, but I did like
Oh,
Puddles.
Puddles is actually
Puddles
that's
was
really good.
Really good. I love the character designs. Their silhouettes were great.
The
The idea of how he entered each Puddles was really nice. Like it had this really gloopy effect whenever he splashed in and then came out the other end.
Art style looked like, to me, do you know, like, when Pixar releases a film and then they come out with, like a really well-produced picture storybook of the film with original, like, concept
Yeah.
illustrations? It looks
Yeah.
like that.
Like, it was still very noticeably 3D, but yeah, I can see what you mean by that.
Yeah. Because they take, like, either, like, concept art or, like, they hire their internal artist to, like, draw the picture storybook. And it looked exactly like that.
My question is, what would it be hard for them to make a full-length film in that sort of style? Because that sort of style is really, really beautiful.
I think they could still touch it up a little bit, but I reckon they could.
Oh yeah, touched up, of course.
Yeah.
But like, I would prefer seeing a movie that has this sort of unique aesthetic than Frozen 3 Find Samantha.
I do think it comes to the risk factor in like trying something experimental and releasing it like worldwide and seeing how much money that makes. Like it could very well work, but then again, like Into the Spider-Verse, people see that as a hit film. Yet it didn't even make $400 million.
Wow.
No, yeah.
It made like $325 million.
The Puddles and the Race is the one.
Oh yeah, the Puddles. Let's talk a bit more about that. So that was inspired by
The kid playing, yep.
his nephew, and also he lives near an elementary school, so he often sees kids just on their phones all the time. So it's another on your phones commentary.
Oh bloody! All these kids on their phones just want to learn about
Black
the world
Mirror.
and talk to each other.
Yeah, but so I actually really liked how they did it in this short though.
Yeah.
About like her ignoring him, but when he finally gets her attention, she actually does discover this amazing world.
Yeah, they see the word and then they're like, oh crap, we can't get back. Looks like we're stuck here.
But no, I do really like, as you mentioned before though, Stefan, how like him jumping into the puddles and him coming out. I
Yeah.
thought that was really great, and like every time it was different as well. And then he also got a dog to do it.
Yeah, that was funny.
But I thought that was really good. And then, like, when they actually get into the world, I was satisfied with the result as well. Yeah. But I do kind of wish they could have had a bit more time to, like, actually explore that world instead of just being awed by it. But
look,
I'll
it's
take
a
what I can
90-second film.
yeah.
It was pretty darn good with just showing that as a final scene.
Yeah. Okay, let's run few...
Raindrops? I
drop,
liked the concept of raindrops. I wish this film, they could make like a weather cinematic universe where this is in the same universe as that umbrella shot.
No, make it Weathering with You.
Weathering with You.
No, I wanted it in the same universe as Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
That's also, yeah.
No, so this is actually inspired by a coin that the director found in his pocket. It was like, where has this coin been throughout in its entire life? And then throughout development, they decided to make it a raindrop and then see like its life cycle, where it's been before it gets evaporated back up. And
I also think that's also an interesting way of, like, it's an odd one, but I feel like animation should be also tailored towards education in this sort of sense. Like, this is a perfect example of the lifespan of a raindrop and how it goes back down, precipitation makes it go back up to the sky, and it re-begins its life cycle. But I think this was a very interesting one. I think it was a bit weird at the end how they have the raindrop wave to the little kid, and then all of a sudden he's not scared of going back down again anymore.
I like that because it was his first time going down that.
Okay.
That's what I
makes
inferred
sense.
by it, because like the two heavier raindrops, they seemed
used to it.
experience.
Yeah.
Whereas he was like going through it the first time. I don't know how that works because all water's been around for millions of years.
Yeah, but he's a new water.
Yep.
It's a new water.
Oh, I guess if it's a new bit of oxygen that got evaporated up, yeah, that makes sense.
But it's just, I like when they take it's the whole thing about things that shouldn't talk that Pixar had. When that's done well in animation, it's done beautifully. And this was one of those examples of just a beautifully unique and niche idea that was done well.
Okay, so let's just run through a few more of them. So there was Exchange Student. I really liked the style of this.
I
but
did too.
The impact for me just wasn't there.
No, this wasn't really a story so much as it was, I love the character design and the storybook aesthetic. And the colours, everything was
Which
so
one was this?
bright.
The girl with the aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I do like how, like, when she screamed, she was able to get those things separated and then be accepted But yeah, the character design in this is really good, and the creator of that, she like has done a lot of
Work,
comics as well.
comic work. I saw that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So let's go to Lucky Toupee. This was like my least favorite.
I honestly...
Not because it wasn't good, but just because it didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, same here. This one and the Space Moose one I didn't like as much.
I'll get into that later, but yeah.
Is it even
but yeah,
moose?
Lucky
I'm calling it the
Toupee.
wrong thing.
Deer or whatever.
Yeah, Space
Yeah,
Deer.
deer. But yeah, Lucky Toupee, it was just like, it had the standard, rendering. It had good character designs. I liked the little leprechauns and how they were angry all the time. And yeah, I actually liked how the woman was bald at the end too.
But do
I
these
hope you've seen these, listener. Otherwise, that just made no sense.
Do
That was
these
just the ramblings of a madman.
do these
I like
you.
leprechauns. I like the.
do these leprechauns steal people's hair and then
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
it back to them? Was that the whole point of this story?
No, I
the
think
jo-
they
are they
get
the
a
jo-
sample of the hair and then make toupee out of that sample.
Why are the?
I'm just
why
picturing the jockeys from The Simpsons that live in that underground tree.
Oh, that's right.
That's terrible.
Let's go to Cycles. So this was about the old woman and how we're going through her life backwards in this one house. So this was a VR project, which was the most different out of all of them, I would say. And Steph and I were talking about it before the podcast, but what we came up with was the fact that as a short film, it kind of lacks. But if you actually saw it through VR goggles, it would be very impactful.
So was the VR portion of this scrapped, or was the initial VR project scrapped in favour of an animation?
No. It is a VR, but for the purpose of it being shown on this Disney Plus platform.
Oh, so you can watch it in VR somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
somewhere
okay.
there are the VR files.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, is it publicly available? Or
No.
is it on a guy's computer?
Just on the guy's computer.
Is it on John Lasseter's USB? He has to take into evidence for court.
Stop mentioning it.
Stop mentioning John.
But yeah, I think it's very experimental. I actually really love the concepts because it kind of reminds me a bit of one of my favorite games, To the Moon, where you go through someone's memory backwards, and yeah,
There was a lot of
Play to the
heart
Moon.
in this one, and it
Ve-
was
a lot
very
of
much
heart.
a personal
and
story. And you
the
could tell.
music as well. Like they tailor-made this music to fit this story.
Yeah, the mother of the director made the music, which is really nice. I think
Yeah.
the ending, I think the ending line is too on the nose again because you don't need that final line. The final line's like, I'm not going to miss my house, I'm going to miss my home. It's like, yeah, we got that.
and
I'm going to miss the house.
because it's and because it's a VR project as well, that means this would have been the only one to use a game engine to render. And I thought
Yeah, good
the
point.
game rendering worked really well for it.
Isn't difference like game engines render in real time?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I thought that actually worked
That's
really
where you
well.
could also tell in that the animations weren't as fluid or weren't like there was a bit of what's that
Stiffness?
called? Stiffness, a
Yeah.
bit, not
Yeah, not a
much,
lot,
but you could tell it was in a real game.
Game
Yeah.
engine,
real-time
like
engine.
in-engine rendering, is getting very impressive.
It is.
Oh,
it
it
is.
is.
Like aesthetically, this was really, really good.
Like I mentioned this a lot, like outside of the podcast, but like playing like Red Dead Redemption 2 on like reasonably high graphics settings, and just you just watch it a film.
yeah.
Like I know, like maybe in like 20 years, like this will sound like really quaint and ridiculous because we'll have like incredible feats of technology by then. But like seriously, like you're watching that and like it's just like an animated western. Like it's amazing that this is actually being generated in real time in front of you.
Yeah. That's how I felt about. Yeah, a lot of modern games are like that. I would say, like AAA games.
Yeah, yeah.
Lightning in a Bottle. This doesn't really resonate with me, but it was like
cute.
it was inspired by like the Spielberg classics
No.
about this little boy finding something fantastical. And
I
then,
loved
it
his
goes for a
hair
while.
when it spiked up.
oh yeah,
That
and I
was
really
really
liked
good.
the lightning creature as well.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, and like to me, like that could have been done 2D, I reckon, but it was 3D.
Yeah.
But I reckon it would have had a bit more charm if it was 2D, I reckon.
Agreed. But a lot of these, it's really odd because a lot of the promotional work and how they did their concepts were all 2D.
Yeah.
And then the final product's 3D. Like that seems a bit odd to me because when you see the 2D sketches, it's like, look at how much character there is. And then when it's 3D, it loses a bit of that character.
Yeah.
And I think the most successful 3D ones in these short series are the ones that actually maintain as much 2D as possible. Like
yeah.
Puddles looked like 2D that was 3D. And
Yeah.
so it worked beautifully.
And like Just the Thought as well. Very
Yeah.
newspaper
I really like Just the Thought.
So there was Hair-Jitsu. I thought this was like had great cinematography and stuff, and it was inspired by Bruce Lee movies as well.
Yeah.
He only did like 4 movies though, so
Bruce Lee or
Bruce
Brandon
Lee.
Lee?
Bruce Lee.
Bruce
He only
Lee.
did 4 movies in his lifetime. I
Didn't
should
Brandon
say.
Lee only do one film and he died?
The Crow, yeah.
Yeah. Was that his debut feature?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Bruce Lee. He only did
He did all
4
those
films.
dragon movies.
Oh, yeah, but it was only 4 in his lifetime. But afterwards, they got clips of him from those films and put them into the
Are
new
you
films.
kidding? Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what they.
Anyway, Hair-Jitsu, I thought was really good. I really liked the juxtaposition between the real world and her imagination, where it was slightly more cartoony and even 2D as well. Like, they really got the hair to make it look like brushed. It was brushed on her head. And yeah, I really like that. There is... We talked about that. Zenith. This was one with the space deer. So, this was inspired by the old Fantasia movies where...
Very much
like,
so.
the music and the animation really works well together. So, for the first half of this... I thought it was just like, oh, he's just making stars. How amazing is that, you know? But then when they actually introduced the villain of the black hole, sucking out all the work he's done, that's where I really started to actually get into it. Because, like, that's what it was missing at the start. Any sort of force pushing against him or her.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But
There's
that
a
also, even the black hole felt very Fantasia with like the demon.
Oh, it did. Yes. It's
from the
very
Hellfire
reminiscent of
short.
that demon, yeah.
But the problem with this one, I think, was the 3D rendering in
Yes.
that having the luminous blue 3D goat with the
Deer.
really black background, like it was at times it was just black. Like it just looked a bit too stark and
It did, yes.
a bit too like glass, but not the nice like.
It's a very, again, this is all experimenting with styles and stuff. It's a very good experimentation. But I think if they were to do this again, they would have to push it even further to get...
Yeah, because I don't think it worked as well as they would have liked those visuals. But
Yeah.
as well, I'm saying it's pretty top tier as it is.
But yeah, I totally agree with you with that. You haven't said anything in a while apart from I need to go.
I'm trying to remember which shot this was.
Okay, let's do elephant in the room, but not.
Elephant not in the room.
Elephant literally everywhere but inside a room.
I really like this short as well. It was like a really good, strong emotional pull with the pet elephant.
I'm going to have to Google this one.
So what happens? They find an elephant on a beach, and then they take it in and use it for labor, so slavery and all that.
And then the
But
fairy
then-
godmother goes to the boy Shrek.
no,
if you need to
Stefan.
if you love her, you need to let her go.
But the elephant gets kicked out of the house at night when it's raining, but the elephant hears its family, and the boy sympathizes with it, so he gets the family to come to the elephant. And then the elephant walks away with the family. And then the father goes, you know what, even though
I was going to eat that elephant.
even though I wanted to keep the elephant as a slave, you did the right thing.
Here's a hat. He puts the hat on the boy. And
But seriously, don't do that again,
So
because this is
actually-
like my entire livelihood.
So this short actually used the Paperman technology. But to me, because there was lots of color in it, and like with the line work, it wasn't as noticeable as with Paperman. I don't think...
Pac-Man looked more obviously like rotoscope 3D.
Yeah, it wasn't rotoscope though.
Wasn't it?
No.
Was it a traced 3D?
No. They actually invented a program for the lines to follow the curves as
Oh, okay.
their models
Oh,
turned
so it's
around.
like adaptive toon lines.
Yeah, adaptive
Okay.
to
that's
them,
where
yeah.
it's odd because they said in this one, the pre-video speech, that they really wanted to push that Paperman technology.
me, it
but
didn't
if you
feel like
push
it.
it too far, it just ends up looking like 3D.
Also, it just doesn't look like that technology anymore.
No, it doesn't. That's
Yeah.
where it's a fine line between finding the right balance of things and techniques. Like,
Yeah.
this didn't have enough 2D elements and 2D features to make it feel like a 2D feature. Whereas Paperman had a lot of 2D expressions and things that made it feel 2D.
Yeah.
Whereas this felt more 3D, but still looked gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Very.
Especially with the plantations. I love how they did the plants. And the bananas look super tasty.
Yeah. Okay, the last one, Fetch, which is about the little girl who was playing with the monster. I thought the reveal of the monster being like a friendly monster with her was really good. Like, you see her wandering through the forest, really well rendered and like very detailed. And you see this shadowy monster in the background. And eventually when it eats her and she goes, "Hey, I found the thing." Like, I thought that reveal was really good. And it was based on, I think, the creators' nephew and niece and their, like, not naivety, but like...
How they got eaten by monsters in the woods.
No, but like how they viewed the world in like as a really pure type of way. And yeah, I really liked it. It was like, it wasn't my favorite, but it was really nice.
It was nice. Yeah.
It was a good capper to the ends of all these.
It was
A lot of these
also
are written about like the animators' children.
Yeah.
It seems.
Again, life experiences about
Yeah.
all this.
I think this one was the one that felt like the most refined. This looked like Frozen rendering. Like it was, everything was quite perfect. And even the designs looked like Anna. She looked like a baby Anna.
The only problem I had was the ground at the very ends.
Oh, really?
There was a little bit there that could have been done, but still, it was very impressive.
You know what this one actually looked like to me? I know it's not, but it looked like something you could do in Blender.
Yeah, actually, so when you used to open Blender, there used to be this little scene of this girl wandering through the forest.
Oh,
that was
really?
the very first thing I thought of when I started watching this show.
Yeah, it reminded me of
okay.
I've mentioned this before. What's that Blender short with the rabbit?
Oh, yeah, I forgot what
Big
it was
Buck
called.
Buddy.
Yeah.
That's it. I can't even remember that.
Yeah, but yeah, it did remind me of Blender.
Remember
as
when he gets
well.
pooed on at the end?
I thought you were
I haven't
talking
watched it all
about
the way
that's the advert for the Simpsons movie. In a time when 3D animation is sweeping the plains, one film seeks to do differently. The Simpsons movie in 2D.
I like that. The tagline was like one film dares to be ugly. But yeah, 2D animation is great.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Or, you know,
10 out of 10.
NPR rendering is also pretty good too.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
10 out of 10. 16 Billy Crystals. Four
Okay.
City Slickers 2 The Legend of Curly's Gold out of 5.
So,
Curly's gold.
so if you're
What's the
still,
film's called?
so if you're still listening, and you
just-
don't know,
By the end, these just break down.
so if you're still listening and you don't know, we record 2 episodes every 2 weeks. So like we can't meet with each other every 2 weeks and then record 2 episodes. So we've had to watch a million short things within, but we all left it to the last 2 days.
Because we're very, very
That's why
good.
by the end of it, we're just brain dead. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what shorts we're talking
So
about.
last night after I finally finished watching them, I just sent like my brain is just melted. And doing these podcasts as well, trying to recollect all these shorts after watching all of them very closely to each other. It's just like,
So next week we'll just cover Akira again.
Next week we're just doing it. We just want to rerun the episode of Akira.
no, okay. So, but yeah, that's the end of talking about the Disney Plus shows. I was really happy watching them because, like, seeing all these experimental things and different shorts run by people who haven't had a chance to tell a story, I found that really good.
I would love
Different voices.
if Disney did a theatrical release of like how Modest Heroes,
Oh yeah,
how they did that. Like maybe they had a film where they take a theme, they just get 3 independent peoples to go make a film. They do 3 in a theatrical release and just do that because I love seeing independent
I feel
artists.
like that wouldn't make it. Like that's a great idea, but that would not make
It
money.
wouldn't
No, they
make
wouldn't,
it,
no.
but I would love it so
but
much.
even if they did like a limited release for that,
Yeah, I think you could in like a Cinema Nova
yeah.
or a Lido.
yeah,
We always list our little art house in the indie theaters.
Okay. So that's the end of this. So next week, what are we doing, Stefan? If you've thought about it.
no.
All right, bye.
Okay, so if you want to, not buy yet, Michael, but if you want to contact us, we are at animate3pod@gmail.com. You can send any criticisms, any praise, any suggestions, any questions, send them our way. And if you don't send anything, you know what? I don't
We're
blame
gonna kill
you.
Ben.
Ah,
He's already dead. He's dead, Ben.
Oh yeah, 2 episodes. We have to maintain continuity. 2 or 3 episodes ago, Ben.
We have a
died.
dead Ben
are you
and a
gonna
dead
kill-
Nicolas
Are you going to
Cage.
kill my brother?
Yeah, we'll do that.
No, and you...
Save Ben's brother and listen to next week's podcast.
We are also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And, you know, follow Twitter because I often update the news as I see it. So, you know, hooray.
Good stuff.
And watch Star Wars The Clone Wars. Goodbye!
Yeah.